Hello, hello, everybody. How are you? Janice, Robin, Barbara, Lois, hello, hello. I feel like the delay might be substantial today, so sorry about that. Christine, how is everyone doing? As you're popping on, say hello. Of course, it wouldn't be technique talk if I wasn't moving the camera around. Hey, Tammy. Yeah. So, how is it going? What another gorgeous spring day out there today. Um, I didn't really get outside to enjoy it, but it looked nice when I got the mail. All right, we're gonna wait a minute, let some more people pop on, and then if they can't make it, they can watch the replay. Hey, Marilyn. Sorry, I promise I'm done moving the camera. So today I wanted to show you a really cool bokeh background technique. And I probably should have looked up the definition of what bokeh is, but to me it's that it's like a filter of light. They kind of look like lights in the background that kind of are a diffusing thing, but this is one of the backgrounds that I did. Now, I just took some of the inked backgrounds that I've been doing in Technique Talk to do this technique. So you can do this technique on inked backgrounds, painted backgrounds, watercolors work really nice. Let's see, probably paint too, but these are all inked. So these two I think are oxide ink backgrounds that I did. And this is on the mixed media paper. So that is just distress ink. And this is on a mixed media tag. And that is, I think, saltwater taffy in one of the demos that I did. Hey, Barbara. So this is what I wanted to show you. It's a really fun technique. It makes a great background for a really simple card or a great background for a mixed media or home decor piece. If you just put a stamped image and a sentiment on here, it looks really great and it's super easy. So like I was saying, you can do this technique on inked backgrounds, painted backgrounds, watercolor or acrylic paints. When you're using something that's water reactive like watercolors or inks, just keep that in mind. It gives you a little bit of a different look. It's not bad, just different. You can use these backgrounds like this that are a little bit splattered. It gives you a little bit more texture. So these are some of the other things that I had laying around. Now, you can do this technique with, I first learned it with white gesso. You can do it with white paint, but I have found that for me, the easiest, and I get more control, is a white pigment ink. So this is the Lawn Fawn Yeti, and just a ink blending tool because those are easier to do with pigment ink. I also will be using a wipe and a water brush pen to start, and then we'll add some at the end, some zhushing with the Wink of Stella of the clear, or you can use a glitter pen like the Lawn Fawn pen as well. So for this technique, I just quickly made a stencil just to make it easier. So what you use are just circles. Bokeh is usually a circle. And these sizes on this stencil that I made are 1.5, 1 1/4, 1 3/4, 1/2 inch, and 1/4 inch. So I just went down And this is the one that I really, really like the best. So this, after a few tries, I'm going to kind of share what I did with this to do this one. This I started with a wipe. All right, now you can start with a wipe, or you could use a water brush. A wipe might be too wet if you're taking it right out, and a water brush might be too small to use in one of the bigger circles. But the idea behind it is that the larger circles are the lightest. All right, so you use your lightest hand in the larger circles. So I am going to actually start with a wipe in the large circle, and it's going to be clear because I'm going to lift some of this ink up. And this technique is only going to work with these water reactive things like the distress inks that we're using here, any water reactive ink or watercolors. Okay, so what I started with was just removing some of the ink. So you have a circle like that in the largest circle, because like I mentioned, the largest circle, the way that I do it is the largest circle is the lightest. So the lightest being no pigment at all, right? We're just taking some of the ink away. So dab, rub, don't rub. What is that little drip right there? Don't rub too hard, because depending on the paper that you're using, you might rub the paper. These are all mixed media paper, so it should be okay. We'll fix that. And when it dries, it'll look different. Okay, so that is just lifting up some of the ink on there for our lightest, okay? Now, then, I had water over here, that's why. So then I would go to the next size down, and you don't have to do your sizes this close together, and I might even skip over a size, but for now I'm going to take the next size, and I am going to use the ink, and I am going to dab some off, because again, I want this to be light-handed. So I dab some off, and then I am just going to ink in this circle very lightly, and I'll hold it up so you can see. You can barely see it, which is what you want, because you want to create layers. On the lighter colors, the light-handed circles are even harder to see, so it gives you some nice dimension. All right, and you can see I'm not even re-inking the ink, the blending tool, because I want it to be really light. All right, and then this, I'll lift this up so you can see. Here and here, that is my next layer. So you can see it's very, very light. All right, any questions so far? All right, so, and then the next one, we're gonna go a little heavier. So I'm gonna dry my stencil off because I set it in some water. I'm gonna put a little bit more ink. I'm still gonna dab it off a little, but I am going to go a little bit heavier handed, and overlap your circles too. That creates some really good interest. You want them to overlap. And you can go off the corner. And I am watching the comments, so if you've got any questions, feel free to ask them. All right, and then we'll go down to the next size, get some more ink. We're gonna start going a little bit heavier and heavier as we go. So I'm gonna give a couple of swirls in there, and you can see, I'll hold it up again in a second so you can see the differences. Now with this pigment ink, you don't need a lot. So even though we are getting thicker and darker every time, you still don't need a lot. But you can see as we're getting smaller, our circles are getting a little darker. I peeled a little paper off there. That'll be fine when it dries. All right, and then one more size, and I'm gonna go even darker. And then the last smaller circle, I'm going to use the glitter pen, which just gives it a little bit more dimension, which is what you're trying to create with this type of a background. All right, everybody popping on. Make sure that you're saying hello so we know who's watching with us. And if you are just popping on, don't worry, we'll have the replay up for you. I'm gonna fix this dot that I did right here with a little bit of ink. Tap, tap, tap. All right, so the other thing that you can do too is use a little tiny, this has got a little foam dauber on the end. You could do some itty bitty circles, and then also too, sequins would be really nice. The little gems would be nice on here at the end if you wanted just to add a little bit of something something. That one looks splotchy, let's fix that. All right, so you can add little tiny dots like that, but what I am going to do, this is my Wink of Stella, and again, it's the clear, so I am just going to try to get it open. All right, I'm going to brush it off a little because I was squeezing it earlier, and I'm just going to quickly brush in the circle. You don't need to even use a circle. You could draw a circle yourself. You could just do a little dot if you wanted to. Any size circles will work. It doesn't even have to be a stencil like this. It could just be a paper template. I just have easy access to it, so I am going to add a bigger sparkly circle right there. Okay, I'm going to hold this up so you can see. I don't know if you'll see the sparkle, but I will try. Yeah, Marilyn saying she loves her Wink of Stella. So easy for sparkle. It certainly is, and it's that shimmery sparkle. So let's see if I can catch the... Oop, there's some glitter from a project I was doing earlier today. Yes, I was using glitter. So there is a bokeh background on a rainbow inked sheet of paper that I did. Now I'm also going to show on something a little darker real quick so you can see. All right, we are going to, I saved my wipe over here because I don't want to waste. Let me turn it around. Yeah, Barb, we'll have the replay posted for you. She's saying that she came late, but this is a great technique. And it's so easy to give you such a versatile background. All right, so I'm taking my wipe. I'm wiping. Maybe I used paint on this. I might have used paint. It might not come up. I might not be able to pull up any ink on this. Or, oh, you know what? It's on a manila, so it's not going to be white. It will be a lighter circly spot, but it probably won't be white because, well, it's on a manila. Okay, so there. White is not manila, Michelle. Okay. Stuff by Belle makes this stencil bar. Barb is asking who makes the circle stencil. Hey Mary, I made it today, and if we get enough interest in it, we will be carrying it at Scrappy Chic, but it is a really great stencil for doing techniques like this. All right, so our next size, tap, 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 really light hand. Really light hand on the next size down. Don't need a lot of ink on these bigger ones. And like I said, overlap and go off the edge. But you can see, and I'll hold it up so you guys can see better, the splatters in the background just add to the whole effect. Sorry, I can't even talk and stencil at the same time today. All right, so let's see. Yeah, if you guys are interested in this stencil, just let me know. Of course, we can get some in the store for you. You go a little darker, and you can see I'm not adding a lot of ink, just using my dauber. Am I going off camera? Sorry. I need to pay attention. And then I'm going smaller now and making it even darker. What's nice about this stencil for techniques like this is that they're spread apart so that you don't have to worry about overlapping on the next one while you're in the middle of randomly putting your dots down, right? Very random. Okay. So, and then like I mentioned before, this little tiny dauber, and you could use a Q-tip for this too, I think would probably be the right size. We'll get some ink on that, and we'll do some really tiny white splatters at the end would be nice. Sequins, gems, all good things to add for some great dimension. And I spilled glitter today, so I will have it on everything for the rest of my life, I think. And it's the chunky glitter from Lawn Fawn, so you can really see it. All right, then in our last circle here, let's see, I don't even know if I've used this Lawn Fawn. Yep, we'll try the Lawn Fawn glitter pen here. This one's got a bullet tip instead of a brush, which is fine. I'm fine with either. Probably should have shaken it, huh? Yeah. Usually with the Lawn Fawn glitter pen and their glitter glue, the glitter really doesn't come out until it's dry, and then it really gets you. It is very sparkly. Okay, so, and here is the same effect on a splatter background. I just love it. I could do these are fun to do. I could sit here and do these all day and just have a million backgrounds ready for, you know, I'm just getting some great use out of all the Technique Talk demos that I've been doing. So it's really, I'm excited about it. So does anybody have any questions? I want to see if this will work. Any questions I can answer before we wrap it up? If you guys are interested in this stencil, I'm gonna post a link to the to this YouTube on Facebook. Just leave us a comment on that post or a comment here. I will check it, and we'll bring some of these into the store if anybody is interested. All right, I'm gonna give it a minute because the delay is, like I said earlier, substantial. So let's just zip through these real quick. Some of my favorites. Look at this one. This one I did with gesso, and gesso picks up the pigment of what's underneath it. So this was Distress. Gosh, I can't remember if it was Distress ink or oxide. It looks like it might have been oxide, but you can see where I was using the gesso. It picked up the ink color from underneath. And I thought that was really interesting. It makes a really fun background. This one, I did with acrylic paint. This one was with gesso. And then these ones here, this one I did with the pigment ink. I think this one's my favorite, but I really like this one too on this rainbow. Yeah, and then I just did this one here. So yeah, super fun. All right. So if there are no questions, I am going to say thank you for joining us. And next week, next week we are going to be doing some background techniques with distress spray and distress embossing glaze. I found another technique I want to show you guys. So that is going to be next Tuesday for Technique Talk. Don't forget, this weekend, if you're not already signed up, is our Spring Has Sprung banner class on Saturday. We've got seats left. That is another one of our all-day in-store events. They're always super fun. And Sunday, for all of my mixed media art journal club people, don't forget, it's mixed media marvels on Sunday. All right, everybody, have a great Tuesday. Enjoy this weather, and we'll be seeing you soon.